Welcome back to 15th Street Automotive. We got a 2014 Chevy Express 1500 van. Customer states they have a airbag light on the dash. There's some other things wrong with it, but we're going to make a video on diagnosing this airbag light. Follow along. Let's go. Alright, as you can see, the airbag light is on, as is the tire pressure monitor light, but he's not concerned with that right now. We're just worried about the airbag light. So let's scan this thing and see what codes are set. Alright, we got our 2014 Express 4.3 loaded up. Do fault scan. So it's got some crankshaft issues here. I think we've already fixed that one, so we're not here for those. We are here for the inflatable restraint sensing diagnostic module airbag light, and we have 3 codes in there, all relating to the passenger presence module. That is basically the passenger seat. There's a couple sensors on there. One is a load sensor in the cushion of the seat, and one is probably a position on that seat. But we've got passenger present module, signal erratic, invalid data, and then lost communication. So that is, now they call this thing a module, the passenger presence module, but it's actually more of just a sensor, but it has communication to and from it, so they call it a module. But it's basically just the load pressure sensor on the passenger seat. It's the cushion. It all comes as the cushion. So anyway, it's pretty cut and dry on checking this thing out. We've got it's a module essentially, so it's power, grounds, and communication. Let's grab the schematic and see what the circuits are that we want to get to, and we'll test those for power, ground, and some type of communication signal. Alright, so here's the schematic for the airbag system on here. This is the this box right here is the inflatable restraint sensing and diagnostic module, which is basically the airbag module. This is another part of it down here, but what we're concerned with is this circuit right here, the data communication schematics on circuit 5060 dark green. So if we click here, hopefully we can go to, let's see, where are we going here? 5060. Okay, yeah, so what we have here is basically, this is just like a LIN bus right here. All these modules here are all on a LIN bus, which is a single wire, I believe it's 7-volt square wave communication bus. Let's see here. So the diagnostic inflatable restraint diagnostic module goes up on the bus, and here is our passenger presence sensor, which is essentially the passenger presence module. So it is on the 56, so it feeds up to this JX200 bus essentially. And so let's pull up the schematic for the passenger presence sensor. Let's see if we can get a schematic on here. I'd like to have a better schematic than that, although I want to see this plug-in. Actually, if you look at the connector underneath the seat, so this is the connector underneath the seat. Pin A is battery voltage. Pin B is nothing. Pin C, okay, pin C is our LAN, our single wire communication, and pin D is our ground. So it's power, blank, communication, ground is what we're looking for. And our colors are red, white, dark green, and black, white. I want to see if I can find a schematic on that. Let me go back here. Right here, passenger presence manual. Okay, this is what I want to see here. All right, so this is that sensor, which is some places called a module, some places called it a sensor. So it is under the seat. It's basically the cushion of the seat. There's our red and white on A, there is our communication on C, and there is our ground on D. So black, white, red, white, dark green. All right, let's go find those circuits and we will see what we got going there. All right, so we're going to try and show you what I'm doing. So here's one of the connectors here. Red, white, black, white, and green right here. Those are our circuits. So I'm going to use a U-scope just because it's convenient. Let me see if I can situate this so you can see it here. There we go. Okay, so I think I got all the pieces I need here. Alright, so black and white is our ground. We will put this in the black and white, and this one in our red and white. And we have power. So as you can see right there, we got a power signal. Pull it out, you can see it drop. Touch it on the red and we get power. Okay, so we have a good power. Now this green is our signal, but I don't have the key on, so let me put those in there and I'll turn the key on. Okay, and we have a good communication there. So we have power, ground, and communication on the bus. Now it doesn't tell us that anything's coming out of the unit. So if you remember that schematic, all of those modules were feeding up to a bus and they were all dropping off of there. So this just means that all those modules are communicating, which they would be because this is the only module we're having an issue with. So what I need to do, right here's the connector for the actual sensor. So let's check what we have up here. Let's make sure we have powers and grounds up here and not just down there. So there's power, and you can see we have power there. Okay, pull it out, you can see it drop. Go back up, you can see it. Oh, there's our communication. So we have communication all the way up to it. What we need to know is, do we have communication out of it? So we know we have power and ground into the sensor because this harness right here goes straight up into the seat. It's the sensor right there. So this is the last line of defense for that sensor. So what we need to do is probably, let me unplug this. What we need to do is depin this thing. I can depin this one pretty easy. What we need to do is depin the communication signal out of this so it changes color there. So it's plugged in. Green is our communication. It's the third pin in. So on the other side of this connector, it's the white. So we need to depin white And what we'll do is plug it back in once it's depinned, so the module is getting power and ground, and then we can put our lab scope on just the white wire, and if that sensor's working, it should have a communication signal out of it. It should show something. If it's a flat line, then we know that the module is dead, or the sensor is dead. So let's depin this thing. Let's see here. Kind of a different cover on that connector here. Push this through. There we go. Pull that out. That's the comb that keeps it all straight. Now, white is the third one in. Oop. Don't drop it. Okay, so white is the third pin, and I don't know what the yellow doesn't have anything in that connector, so it's just blank. So let me pull on that white there a little bit, and I'll try and release that. This would be a lot easier if I didn't have fat fingers. Oh, there it is. Okay, pull that. Nope, cut again. Okay, pull that. That's the communication out of the sensor, or the module in this case. So if we plug this back together, plug that back together, you know what I need to do? Let's check pin fitment right here on all of these. This is a excuse me. This is a one of the terminals from my Uconnect kit that I got from AAS Wave. So it's exactly the same size as the factory pins, and you can do a pin drag test on this thing. Stick it in there, and you can feel definitely has some tension, and that has tension, and that one has tension, and that one's not used, so we're not worried about it, but it has tension too. But those have nice tension, so it's not a pin fitment problem. So let's plug this back together, and now make sure we have our power. So ground and power. Okay, you can see our power there. We get a signal. So we have power and ground going to the sensor. Now let's see if we should have a communication signal out of there. And we got nothing. So with that module powered with power and ground, we should be getting something. It should be trying to talk to the rest of the modules, and it's not. So that would explain why we're getting those 3 codes in there for no comm. We can recheck right here for power. There's our power. We can actually go through here, and if we go through the connector body with this thing disconnected, we have good communication there. I can go all the way through. Watch that. See, I go all the way through that connector, and I'm getting my communication back in there. So our problem for sure is that sensor, that module. So let me put this back together so I don't forget about it. Actually, I don't need to worry about it because this is getting replaced anyway, so we'll just leave it. And it's a 5-volt square wave, not a 7-volt square wave. I don't know if you noticed that on the scale, but each one of these graticules is a 2-volt division. So this is each one of these is a 2-volt division, and it's only going up 2.5 divisions. So it's a 5-volt square wave. We will leave this disconnected because it's getting replaced anyway. Let me stick this back in. I'm gonna repin it just so I don't screw something up. Okay, you can see it went through there, and now this goes through like this, all the way in there, and snap it in, and then we can plug that back in. Okay, so it's pretty evident that our problem is the cushion on this thing. It just not reading, it's not communicating. So I mean, it could be reading what it's supposed to read, but if it can't communicate to the airbag module, then it's not going to it's going to set that code. So we will find ourselves a cushion. I think it's not the leather portion of it. I think it's just the cushiony, the foam part. So we will get that coming, and we'll get her fixed, and then he can get that airbag light off. So quick and easy one for you. Thanks for watching.